Now, the UK's parliamentary spending watchdog has begun redacting parts of MPs' expenses in what they claim is a move to protect MP safety following the killing of Sir David Amess. After Sir David was killed at a constituency surgery on Friday, some colleagues raised concerns with the parliamentary regulator IPSA over the amount of information that can be released about claims for travel and venues. Some of these details have been removed from IPSA's website already, with further steps being proposed to withhold certain claims from release, even under Freedom of Information Act requests. One anonymous Labour MP told The Guardian newspaper about the hostility they received about even stationery budgets, suggesting those should be anonymous too, or indeed redacted. Well, joining me to discuss this further is the founder and editor of the Guido Fawkes website, Paul Staines. Welcome to the programme, Paul.
Good afternoon, Tom.
First of all, some people may say that venues, for example, constituency surgeries, that being very, very public on an IPSA register, withdrawing that, withholding that, redacting that, may seem sensible in the light of what's happened.
Well, at first glance, you might think that. But those surgeries are well advertised anyway. That's the whole point of them. And in the British system, and a lot of MPs do support this, we have an open access to MPs and they have to publicise where they are. So I'm not sure what benefit there will be from taking out those details from invoices. And in any event, the expenses data is released after the event. So if you're a terrorist trying to find out where an MP is going to be, there's no point looking in the expense claims to find out. You might as well go on their Twitter page or their website, where they'll probably be publicising where the next surgery is going to be. Now, you might want to stop doing that, and they might consider that people have to apply and then be told where the meeting is. But even in that event, it's still the case that venues would be after the event. And we have to remember the reason that these expenses are put online and available for public scrutiny is because in 2009, we had a massive scandal where hundreds and hundreds of MPs, the majority of MPs, were found to be fiddling their expenses, cheating the taxpayer, and had to repay money. MPs cannot be trusted to mark their own homework. That's why we need the transparency.
Suggesting here that potentially MPs and some scurrilous, curiously anonymous MPs who've been talking to certain newspapers are trying to cover up what they may or may not be doing with their expenses, using this potentially as a pretty awful excuse to remove some of the transparency that's been hard fought for and won over the last decade.
Well, look, when they're buying top-of-the-range Apple AirPods for constituency work, which are initialed and personalised for them, people do wonder, and that just came out just recently. But MPs do not like the scrutiny they get for their first-class tickets on trains and expenditure on top-of-the-range technology, which has dual use. And it's noticeable that sometimes these laptops get ordered just before Christmas, and people do get suspicious. If we don't know what's going on, we won't be able to tell. And at the same time, they're complaining about, and they've always complained about the expense transparency, they're also now wanting to ban privacy for people online. So they want privacy, and they want to take away privacy from people online because they complain that people are rude to them on Twitter.
It's pretty unedifying to see a lot of these sort of long-held hobby horses be raised in the wake just days after the brutal killing of Sir David Amess. I wonder whether it's just these sort of long-held opinions of MPs that they think this is the way things should be, and they're grasping at straws, grasping at pretty awful excuses to try and push their own personal agendas.
Look, in politics, it's a rule that never race the crisis, it's an opportunity. And sorry to be cynical, but I think a lot of MPs are taking the natural sympathy that people have for their situation and the natural anger that a lot of MPs are feeling and trying to get some of their favourite or issues resolved, covering up their expenses, stopping people being rude to them on social media. Those two things haven't just come about by accident. They're irrelevant to the terrorism. The terrorists found the location where he was at from his website. So we don't need to go down that route, and they're just taking advantage of the situation.
Well, it is a fascinating story and one that no doubt we will follow closely, and no doubt you on your Guido Fawkes website will follow closely as well. I know that these sort of stories are your bread and butter.